Welcome back, dear souls. I am so glad you're here. And this is episode 4, Softness as Strength. And I am your host, Gulama Mustafa. So take a breath with me before we begin. And today we'll be exploring anger and emotional numbness. Two experiences that are often misunderstood, judged, or silenced, especially in spiritual spaces. But what would Mawlana Rumi whisper to us? They would say, softness is not a weakness, it is a strength, waiting quietly. So today, we're not here to get rid of the anger. We're not here to force feeling where numbness lives. We're here to listen. I'd like to start with a poem from Mawlana Rumi. So listen to these words, which are offered in spirit. Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one to come? Softness allows change. Softness allows turning. And softness trusts the unseen strength unfolding within. I'd let that sink in for a while. And I'd like to offer my own poetic reflection. Soft as the evening breeze, strong as the mountain inside, what bends survives the storm, and what softens learns how to rise. Now that you've heard Mawlana Rumi's poem, we will do a breathwork practice, which is soft but rooted, and this will open up the heart for the episode. So let's take a moment together, and if it feels safe, gently lie down or sit up and close your eyes. If not, soften your gaze. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach. Now, take a slow breath in through your nose and sigh it out through your mouth. Inhale again through the nose. 1, 2, and exhale through the mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. You don't need to change anything. Just arrive. Now, begin breathing in through the nose for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause gently. Then exhale slowly. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. This tells your nervous system, I am safe. Now, let's do that again. So breathe in through the nose for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then exhale slowly through the mouth. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you inhale, I wanted you to imagine the softness spreading across your chest, like a warm light or a gentle water. As you exhale, Imagine roots growing from your body into the ground, steady, supported and held. Soft above, rooted below. Breathing in, I soften, and breathing out, I stay grounded. So let's do that again. We're bearing that in mind. So inhale for 4. As you inhale, imagine softness spreading across your chest like a warm light or gentle water. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale for 6. And as you exhale, imagine roots growing from your body into the ground, steady, supported, held. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am safe. I am grounded. Now, bring to mind a moment when someone speaks to you harshly. You don't need details, just that feeling. As you inhale, silently say, I don't need to harden. And as you exhale, silently say, I choose steadiness. So let's do that. Take one final breath. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't need to harden. And as you exhale for 6, I choose steadiness. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, take one final breath in through the nose and release it gently through the mouth. If your eyes are closed, slowly open them. Carry this with you. You can be soft and strong. You can stay open without breaking. And you can respond, not react. The breath is always available to you, especially when the world asks you to harden. I don't know about you, but forever society is telling you you're too soft. You need to toughen up. This world will eat your life if you don't harden up yourself. And maybe you've tried that, but it doesn't come easy to you. You've built walls. You've learned to stay quiet. You practice not feeling so much. But if Mawlana Rumi was sitting across from you right now, he might smile softly and say, why are you trying to become stone when you were made to be water? He wouldn't tell you to be careless. He wouldn't tell you to let people walk over you. But he would tell you this: hardness breaks and softness adapts. Mawlana Rumi would remind you that the river doesn't fight the mountain, it moves around it. And over time, the mountain changes because of that gentle movement. Society confuses softness with weakness because softness cannot be controlled. A soft heart still feels, still notices, and still cares. And caring takes courage, right? Mawlana Rumi would lean in and say, you don't need to be harsher, you need to be truer. Because when you harden, you stop listening. You stop listening to yourself, to others, to God, to life. But when you stay soft, you remain awake. Softness is what lets you say no without cruelty. Softness is what lets you walk away without hatred. Softness is what lets you feel pain without becoming it. So when the world whispers to you, toughen up, Mawlana Rumi would whisper, stay open but rooted. Stay gentle but clear. Stay soft and let that be your strength. Because in a world that survives by numbing itself, your softness is not a liability. It's a quiet revolution. And you know, many of us, I'm sure you would have witnessed something, even when we didn't have words for it. So, when someone comes at you with a harshness, with a sharp tone, defensive, with accusations, what they're usually expecting is resistance. Yeah? They expect to fight. I'm sure many of you have been in that situation. They want you to shut down, they want a fight or submission. But when you respond with softness, something unexpected happens. There's this energy shift. Often there's a pause. They slow down. Their voice drops. Sometimes they look really confused and sometimes ashamed. Depends who they are. And sometimes suddenly they're human again. So softness doesn't give them what their harshness was preparing for. So you see, it's not a weakness, it's disarming. Because harshness feeds on tension and softness removes the fuel. And here's the important part. Softness doesn't mean agreeing. It doesn't mean letting harm continue. It means responding from steadiness instead of threat. When you say something like, I hear you. Can you repeat that, please? So what you're saying is, let's slow this down. I don't feel safe being spoken to like this. This is without an attack. This is without fear. You're showing emotional strength. And many people have never been met that way. So your softness becomes a mirror. It shows them their own tone without shaming them. Sometimes they soften back, but sometimes they don't. And that tells you something too. Either way, you remain intact. And if Mawlana Rumi were watching this exchange, he might say in simple words, fire calms when it meets water, but only if the water knows it is water. So your softness, when rooted in self-respect, is not fragile. It's grounding. It's powerful. It changes the room, even if only for a moment. Now let me tell you about Hannah. Hannah feels anger rise in her chest when she sees injustice, when truth is dismissed, when boundaries are crossed, when pain is spiritualized away. Her anger feels sharp but hot and uncomfortable. But for years, she's tried to push it down. And she told herself, I should be softer than this. But Mawlana Rumi teaches us, anger is a signal that something needs. But Mawlana Rumi teaches us that anger is a signal and something needs attention. So she tries to practice something new. Instead of asking, how do I stop feeling angry? She asks, why am I angry? And here is what she learns. She pauses before reacting and places a hand on her heart, or she counts to 3. She names a feeling without judgment, and she asks gently, what boundary has somebody crossed? She gives herself permission to care deeply without exploding or collapsing. And Hana realizes her anger isn't the opposite of softness. It is softness that has teeth. When anger is honored with gentleness, it becomes clarity instead of rage. It becomes firmness instead of harm. It becomes a calm instead of a violent yes. That is strength. Now let me tell you about Alan. Alan doesn't feel anger. He feels empty, flat, quiet. Years of being told to stay strong taught him to disconnect from his inner world. He worries something is broken inside. But Mawlana Rumi whispers to Alan, the silent heart is not dead. It is resting beneath the soil. So Alan stops trying to force emotion. Instead, he practices safety. He focuses on sensation rather than emotion. Warmth, breath, weight. He allows silence without trying to fill it. He practices one honest check-in a day, and you should try this, is what do I feel physically right now? And when you do that, it releases the pressure to heal fast. Alan learns that the numbness is not absence, is a pause written by wisdom. Softness for him means letting feelings return in their own rhythm, trusting the heart's timing, and being patient with the thaw. And slowly, without force, something begins to bloom. So try the lessons that were learnt from Hannah and Alan today and see how something begins to bloom. So, there are many lessons to learn from Mawlana Rumi. Her softness as a strength. Anger doesn't mean you're failing. Feeling angry doesn't mean you're bad or unspiritual or too much. When anger shows up, just don't push it away or shame yourself. But ask, what feels unfair at the moment? Why am I angry? Who has crossed my boundary right now? Anger is often just care that hasn't been listened to yet. You don't have to react to your anger. You can respect anger without acting it out. So instead of snapping, explaining, or proving, take one slow breath, put a hand on your chest and name it quietly. I feel angry right now. And this small pause turns anger into clarity instead of conflict. Numbness isn't brokenness either. So, when you feel flat or when you feel empty or disconnected, nothing is actually wrong with you. Numbness often means your heart needs rest. So stop trying to feel more and start asking, what helps me feel safe right now? Because safety comes before emotion. So the feelings actually return when they feel safe. You can't force healing, and really, we shouldn't force healing. If you feel numb, notice physical things instead, like the warm tea, the sunlight, the breath, the sky, nature. Let quiet be quiet. Don't rush yourself. Feelings come back slowly, like spring, not on command. Now, softness is a strength in everyday life. Now, it doesn't mean you say yes to everything. It looks like this. Sometimes you can actually say no without feeling guilty. You can honour the person that's asked you for something, such as you can say to a friend, I really respect you asked me that, but I don't have the time at the moment. I'm quite honoured that you asked me, but unfortunately, I don't have the time at the moment. Resting without explaining. So, often we need to take a break and we're forever explaining to people why we're taking that break. But you don't need to. Take that rest, take that break, and you don't have to explain. You can feel deeply without hardening. You can actually feel without becoming harsh. And be kind to yourself on the hard days, because that is real strength. Also, nothing needs to be fixed immediately. Often we have these feelings and we think, God, this needs to be fixed. I need to sort this out. I can't feel like this. But not everything needs a solution. Sometimes the most healing thing is simply saying, this is how I feel today, and that's fine. So if you're having one of those days, it's okay to have one of those days. Presence heals more than pressure. And here's a gentle reminder to carry with you. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Numbness is protection, and softness is courage. So, take a moment and ask yourself, where do you feel anger or numbness living in your body? What might that feeling be trying to protect or preserve? What would it look like to meet it with gentleness instead of control? Now you can sit gently with these questions, and answer them. You might want to journal, you might want to sit quietly, you might simply want to do some breath work. All are enough. So as we close today, remember this. Softness does not mean letting everything pass. Softness means staying connected to your heart, even when it hurts, even when it feels quiet. Whether you're carrying anger like Hannah or numbness like Ahmed, like Alan, your heart is not wrong. It is wise. So today, embrace softness and let strength flow quietly through you, like Mawlana Rumi has taught us. So, dear souls, until next time, be gentle with your becoming.